Hello, Bakr. How are you? So we talked about these things in the training, but I will send you this video again. Hopefully it helps. So I input the chemical composition in here, and I'll just click search again, okay? And you can see that we're getting a lot of materials. And if I go to page number 2, for example, other materials, like for example, if I click on this one, okay, this is from Poland. You see, from Poland, and of course we're not going to take a look at this ones. Okay, if I take a look, for example, at this one, this is from France. Okay, um, so as you can see, I have to go and go and go until I come to the ASTM standards or ASI standards or the standards that we are using, right? So right now, for example, I have ASTM A213, which is basically the standard I send you, standard specification for seamless, basically for boiler, superheater, and heat exchanger tubes and stuff like this. Okay. Um, yeah. So basically, you need to know about the standards. You need to know about your material, the application when you're searching here. So for example, you will come to expert mode. Okay. This is your threshold, and you just want to see, for example, AISI materials, because this is the one in your LIPS device. Okay. So now if I click search, see, for example, many things would change. I will only see these matches because I'm only looking at ASI, okay? So I'm only seeing these matches, and this is a very good match, for example. ASTM A312, the ASI numbering system, 310S, okay? The only thing that doesn't match is chromium, okay? Now, as you can see, for example, carbon is turned off, okay? Because it's very low, so they turned off, but you need to turn this on. So you will make this 10, and then you will search again. You see now the similarity is 0.93, for example, or 91 for this specific one. Okay. Okay. But you want to take a look, for example, at ASTM materials as well. So you'll click ASTM materials, and then you'll click search. Okay. Now you'll have a vast majority of materials, including the ASTM ones. Okay. You see. So you need to know how you're doing the search, because, for example, if I turn everything off and if I search again in the expert mode, okay, you see it will give me, for example, these things, okay, that, for example, what is this? Let's see. So this is from Norway first, and then this is rules for classification, ships, for ships, materials and welding, chapter 2, metallic materials, DMV part 2, chapter 2, section. So not related at all, not related at all. And as you can see, we have, for example, vanadium here. We have, they're not considering carbon and copper in this case. But anyways, so that's why you need to know what you are doing here, okay? Because sometimes chemical composition, okay, same, but different applications, different mechanical properties. So you need to know what you're doing. You need to know your application. You need to know your material. So we will click ASI, okay? And if I search again with only ASI, which is the one in the device, you will find the match, okay? You will find the match that your LIBS device did. But then if you come here and also add ASTM, okay, which is the American standard for materials and testing, okay, now you will see sorry, now you will see other materials as well, like for example this one, okay. And I already shared with you, I think, these things. Yeah, I already shared with you this standard. You see this standard I already shared with you. So one match in the total materia is this, and the other match, for example, 3 1 10. Let me just search real quick. Yeah, so 3 1 10, for example. Okay, I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay, so this is what ASTM 213 for boiler, superheater, and heat exchanger tubes. So there are other materials like this one. Yes, there are other materials like this one. So total materia will show you all of them. Will show you all of them. But you just need materials that are used for high temperature applications and are used for heat recovery or heat exchangers or boilers, tubes for boilers or stuff like this. So that's why you need to know what materials you're looking at. Okay, it's not like you will come here. We talked about this also in the training. It's not like you will come here and click search and you will get exactly all, because total materia is very big. It has a lot of materials. You need to know what you're looking at. Okay, and for example, when you're here, okay, you see, for example, this is a better match based on total materia, because total materia, for example, right now is not looking at T10. Okay, so for example, TI should be less than 0.60. Okay, and it's not considering it because I turned off virtual limits. If I turn on virtual limits now, okay, it has a limit. It should not go below. See, so we don't see that material anymore. We don't see that material anymore. So if I turn it off and now search again, we have a different way of seeing the materials. Okay, as you can see. So yeah, so for example, check, for example, 310S. You see most of the things here, this is the criteria, most of the things here are very good match except your chronomium. Okay, except your chronomium. So for example, you know that you just want to confirm, you will click on these materials. Okay, you will not click on these two because just like I talked about, you see, for example, the titanium, you see, for example, nickel says just more than 9%. It is more than 9%, yes, but it's what? It's 20%, okay? So more than 9%, but 20%. So that's why total materia is just checking if these values are correct. And yes, they are correct, but common sense, like this is a computer, it's just checking the values. But you should know that these values are, for example, 9 is, it just says above 9 and you're checking 20 here. Or so for example, TI, you don't have this at all, okay? Anyways, so yeah, you're, for example, you're very good with these materials. You like these materials, you think they might be a good match, okay? So for example, this one as well, you see this one is TP3110S from the standard again, from the exact same standard we have right here. Some of them are the same things, but anyways. So we will click forward, we will click to advanced search, and then here we know the chemical composition. If you want, you will choose mechanical properties. You will also put mechanical properties, and then from this you can narrow your search down to one material again. Okay, but just like I said, this thing you don't need to do, right? What you need to do is, because it doesn't make sense if you just want to match one material and say, okay, this is the match I found. No, it's not the way done. You need to know what is your material and what your material is used for. So if your material is in heat, in high temperature service, you need to know which standards and which materials are used there. And also you need to have an idea of what your material is, and then you can check if it fits in that criteria or not. Okay. Yeah, so for example, now we would like these materials, okay, we would like these materials to be matched. And again, see, so for example, let me just show you real quick. If I go here, if I go to number 5, yeah, so 3110 again, 3110 again, it's all 3110, but we have some other stuff here that we don't like, okay? But here, for example, we don't have, but the thing is, it's not considering carbon, right? So because of the difference in carbon, this one has 0.04 to 0.10. This one doesn't have a specific value, it just says below 0.08, okay? So you need to improve carbon in the algorithm. You need to say, take carbon more importantly. So you will multiply it. You will make this 10x, which is the sensitivity for carbon. And now if you check again, okay, you'll see this. And of course, you don't have to do this. So I will not do this, okay? I will not do this. You don't have to do this. Okay, but when you check, because this is algorithm, this is computer, it's not smart like us. So when you come here, you see it tells you MB plus TA is, for example, less than 1.1. Okay, this criteria is not a good thing because we don't have this in our material. Okay, and for example, rest, everything is very similar, and carbon is taken more seriously. So this one will say, okay, we'll give a high match to this one. So you need to know yourself. You need to ignore this. Okay, this criteria is something that you can ignore. So you will ignore this. Okay, and you will, for example, come here again, same things you will see. Okay, you will ignore this as well because these are quite a lot of different materials from different producers, from different standards. So you need to find the best one that matches you. Again, see, for example, MB here says should be less than 1.1. So if I go here and for MB I put 0.001, okay, and now if I give it a search, okay, and if I, for example, increase the sensitivity for this, okay, so you see these materials will go down and these materials will come up, okay, because it's taking a look at this, okay, and for example, it says that uh, it's a good match, okay. But for example, for TA again, so you see these are down. The one that we were looking at, sorry, I think these are completely down. So now if I go and check TA, give me a second, I'm looking for it. Okay, so if I check this 0.001 again, it's not in my libs, of course, because it's very low. So I will search like this now, and you'll see that these materials are completely gone. Okay, they're completely gone. So this is a computer. Okay, it's a computer. It's not as smart as me and you. You need to know. You need to know what's happening. Okay, you need to understand what's happening. So that's why I'm telling you, like, if you don't have these, okay, see, you don't have these, okay, the algorithm would show you some other stuff. Because why? Because it doesn't know what is this plus this, because you didn't give anything. So it will think it's 0 0, it's less than 1.1, so it's within the range. So okay, this is a good match, but actually not. Okay, so that's why you need to know how to work with this system. Okay, hopefully that helps, Bakr. Let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you.